Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be a proven warrior, battle-tested and championship-hungry, yet forced to watch from the sidelines as younger players get the spotlight? That's exactly where four-time Pro Bowl pass rusher Matthew Judon finds himself right now, and honestly, it's both heartbreaking and absolutely electrifying to witness. Picture this. A 32-year-old gladiator who's spent over a decade perfecting his craft, who's terrorized quarterbacks from Baltimore to Boston to Atlanta, now sitting by his phone waiting for that one call that could change everything. This isn't just another free agency story. This is a masterclass in perseverance, and the ripple effects of where Juden lands could completely alter the landscape of the 2025 NFL season. The veteran's dilemma. When talent meets reality, Matthew Judon's journey reads like a Hollywood script. After carving out a legendary career with the Baltimore Ravens, he exploded onto the scene with the New England Patriots, recording a jaw-dropping 15.5 sacks in 2022, a performance that reminded everyone why he's considered one of the most feared edge rushers in the league. But football, like life, has a cruel sense of timing. Last season's stint with the Atlanta Falcons was supposed to be his redemption arc. Instead, it became a brief chapter. Just 5.5 sacks before the organization moved in a different direction, drafting 2 edge rushers in the first round and essentially closing the door on any potential return. When asked about rejoining Atlanta, Judon's response was as honest as it was crushing: "It's probably unlikely." But here's where the story gets absolutely fascinating. Despite being in what many consider the twilight of his career, Judon remains unwavering in his self-belief. "I think I can still, but that's not up to me. I'm not a GM making that decision. I just have to be ready if and when my name is called," he recently stated. That confidence? That's not arrogance talking, that's pure, unadulterated championship DNA. Detroit Lions. The perfect storm of opportunity. If you want to talk about perfect timing meeting desperate need, look no further than the Motor City. The Detroit Lions are facing a nightmare scenario that could either derail their Super Bowl aspirations or create the perfect opportunity for a veteran savior. Aiden Hutchinson, their beloved pass-rushing superstar, suffered a devastating leg injury that will likely see him ease back into action as the season begins. The Lions' solution last year was acquiring Zadarius Smith, who managed a respectable 4.0 sacks down the stretch, but they've since parted ways with him. This leaves Detroit with a glaring hole in their defensive front, exactly the kind of void that Judon has spent his entire career filling. Imagine Judon in Honolulu blue, bringing that veteran swagger to a Lions defense that's already proven they can compete with anyone. In the brutal NFC North, where every divisional game feels like a playoff battle, having a proven commodity like Judon could be the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit. The synergy here isn't just logical, it's downright poetic. Las Vegas Raiders. Building a defensive dynasty, now here's where things get really interesting. The Raiders already possess one of the league's most dominant pass rushers in Max Crosby, but pairing him with Judon could create something truly special, a defensive nightmare that offensive coordinators will lose sleep over. The mathematics of pass rushing are beautifully simple. When you have 2 legitimate threats, everything changes. Crosby has been facing constant double teams, limiting his impact despite his otherworldly talent. Add Judon to the equation, and suddenly offensive lines have an impossible choice. Do you help against Crosby and give Judon favorable matchups? Or do you try to contain Judon and watch Crosby wreak havoc? General Manager John Spytek has been methodically rebuilding this defense, and while they re-signed Malcolm Kuntz, who had a breakout 2023 with 8 sacks before missing 2024 with a torn ACL, there's still uncertainty about his recovery timeline. Judon could step in immediately, creating instant chemistry with Crosby, and giving the Raiders one of the most formidable pass-rushing duos in football. The Raiders are quietly building something special in Las Vegas, and adding a veteran leader like Judon could accelerate their timeline from rebuilding to contending. Tennessee Titans, the strategic wildcard at first glance. Tennessee might seem like an odd fit for a veteran chasing one last ring. The Titans are in full rebuild mode, likely facing another challenging season as they develop young talent and establish their identity. But sometimes the most unconventional moves create the biggest opportunities. Tennessee desperately needs help at outside linebacker, where they're counting on Arden Key to anchor a thin position group. Juden could immediately upgrade their pass rush while providing invaluable mentorship to younger players. But here's the brilliant part. This could be a win-win situation that benefits everyone involved. If Juden performs well during the first half of the season, he becomes an incredibly valuable trade asset by the NFL deadline. Contending teams will be desperate for pass rushing help as they make their playoff pushes, and Tennessee could flip Juden for significant draft capital. It's a scenario where Juden gets to showcase his abilities, the Titans get valuable picks for their rebuild, and a contender gets a proven playoff performer. This strategy has worked countless times before, and with Juden's track record, he could command serious compensation from a team making a championship run. The bigger picture. Why this matters, what makes Juden's free agency so compelling isn't just where he'll land, it's what his signing represents for the modern NFL. In a league increasingly obsessed with youth and athleticism, Juden embodies the timeless value of experience, leadership, and football intelligence. At 32, he's not the explosive athlete he once was, but he's something potentially more valuable, a master craftsman who understands leverage, timing, and the subtle art of pass rushing. His instincts remain razor-sharp, and his ability to read offensive schemes and exploit weaknesses hasn't diminished. For whichever team signs him, they're not just getting a pass rusher, they're getting a playoff-tested veteran who's been in the biggest moments and delivered when it mattered most. In today's NFL, where the margin between success and failure is razor-thin, that kind of experience is absolutely priceless. The final verdict, Matthew Judon's next chapter, will be fascinating to watch unfold. Whether he lands in Detroit and helps the Lions complete their championship puzzle, joins forces with Crosby in Las Vegas to create defensive chaos, or takes the strategic route in Tennessee while positioning himself for a deadline trade to a contender, one thing is certain, he's far from finished. This isn't just about one player finding his next team. It's about proving that in the NFL, heart, intelligence, and determination can overcome the passage of time. Juden's journey reminds us why we love this game. Because sometimes the best stories are written by those who refuse to accept that their story is over. So, what do you think? Which landing spot makes the most sense for Matthew Judon? And could his signing be the move that pushes a team over the edge into championship contention? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely want to hear your take on where this veteran warrior should land. And if this breakdown got you as fired up about the possibilities as it did me, smash that like button and let's keep this conversation going.